What is the most used man-made material on Earth? You guessed it, it's concrete. Look around, it's everywhere. You see it in sidewalks, driveways, foundations, floors you stand on, and even entire structural building frames are made from concrete. So why don't we discuss it more? In each episode of Concrete Logic, we will explore one concrete-related topic with the help from industry professionals that are shaping the future of the trade. We'll talk with suppliers, contractors, architects, engineers, specialists, and even some proponents of competing materials about their views of concrete and their vision of its future. There it goes. All right, welcome to another episode of the Concrete Logic Podcast. Today we got Jason Adams with MEGASLAB, CEO. Hey, Jason, could you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your company?
Absolutely. Like you said, Seth, Jason Adams. I'm with MEGASLAB. Been my baby now for quite some time, but we're a technology company. I like to say we're a technology company for the second most used substance on the planet, which is concrete. Water's number one.
Yeah, so then that's what this podcast is all about. It's about concrete and people who love concrete. So could you, I guess, tell us what MEGASLAB is and what problem MEGASLAB solves?
Yeah, I think that's a great first question. It really gets to the heart of who we are and what we do. So I like to say that we try to make the best concrete possible. And keep in mind we're a technology company, so we're not producing concrete and we're not placing concrete. We're a technology company that kind of fits between those two. So we'll work with ready mix producers to really develop the best mix possible. And of course, we work with the contractor too. And yeah, the end result is just a stronger, more durable, more resilient product that we've proven in a lot of different industries. I would argue, some of the most extreme abuse industries. We've proven the product there. Actually, we'll have a video coming out soon of our project in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It's been down for 2 years now. And it's in a very, very harsh environment. It's performing very well. So it just goes back to the root of what we do and why we do it. We're trying to create a more resilient product and be a solution-based company. I feel like that's what we are. We provide a solution. We're not looking to put a Band-Aid on anything. We want to solve the problem, and concrete gives us a big opportunity to do that, because there's some bad behaviors that concrete has, and we felt like we've solved a few of those.
I got you. So I was going to hit on that. You hit on it. So you're a technology company. So wherever your projects are, you're working with the specialists in those areas. So like the ready mix producers in that specific area, you're working with them on what materials they have access to produce a MEGASLAB. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's kind of one step of it, Seth. We really dive into the mix design. So we really study what are the available materials in that marketplace. All the different gradations of aggregate, all the different types of sands. We want to know what their portfolio, if you will, of chemicals, admixtures are. Mainly high range water reducers, air entrainment admixtures, accelerators if we're in the winter, those types of things. So we really dive into the mix design, but then we have technologies and process that we bring to the job site to really implement those into the mix. And then we really work with the contractor. I mean, when I say contractor, I mean the concrete contractor on that site. That's really our entry into the marketplace, is through what I call an AI, an authorized installer. And that's really the concrete contractor that's on the project. So we work with them first and foremost, and we really push this process through them to create something pretty extraordinary for the owner.
Okay, and authorized, is that right? Authorized installer, is that the
Yeah.
term you used?
Yeah.
So is that something that you all certify, or these folks like ACI flat work certified guys, those type of people, or how do you vet that out to make sure the person? I'm sure you want to work with someone that you're uh, comfortable and confident in, that's going to put down your product, because if even if you have the best product in the world, if you get the wrong person to install it, that's going to mess everything up. Um,
Yep.
is that a correct assumption, or?
Absolutely. It's a correct assumption. I mean, we're looking for the best of the best, and and not all markets fit for MEGASLAB right now, and residential is one of them. That's a prime example. But we really focus on the industrial side of things. We focus on the logistics side of things, and we're looking for the best of the best to help us put it in. Because again, that's kind of how we scale, right? We're a technology company, and we're looking for really good ready mix producers in the areas, of course, but all that comes through a really competent, well established concrete construction company.
Gotcha. And then so if we could dive in a little bit on the technical side of things. So when you say the right market, the right installer, so I guess can you explain what is an ideal? I guess first off, explain an ideal project for MEGASLAB. What fits MEGASLAB? Um, could you? I assume it's like mostly slab on ground, slab on grade, right? That you're not doing it on like elevated decks or anything like that. I think we should clarify that because I think we both, you obviously your product, but I know a little bit about your product. But for the folks that are listening, could you explain an ideal project?
Yeah, it's funny you mention elevated slabs because we've done those too.
Oh,
And
okay.
not a lot of people know that. They
Yeah.
don't know. So I appreciate the opportunity to share that with you. I would say there's an application in just about any market where MEGASLAB has an advantage over ordinary concrete. So let me kind of take a step back and explain a little bit what MEGASLAB does, okay, and what we're able to enact and change within concrete. Because I think once you and your listeners understand that, then the mind can wander about where it can be used. Okay. So I guess you could say that the root cause of concrete's bad behavior is moisture loss. And that can be due to a couple different things, but that's really the main root cause of concrete's bad behavior. And that could be shrinkage, it could be curl, it could be a lot of things. It could be attack from outside environments, chloride, salts, all these things. So what we've done is we again start off with a well established and designed mix from the local materials that are available to us, and we create a very dense concrete matrix. I like to say effectively that we're packing more concrete inside of concrete, right? And this is a reaction that does not go away. It does not break down over time. It's a permanent change. It's a permanent chemical change that we enact. And we do that through an admixture. We have our own proprietary fibers that we've studied extensively through research and development, and also through a partner in the academic space. And then we have our own cure. We have our own finishing aid. I mean, there's a lot of different components that and trademarks and products underneath the MEGASLAB, name that all make the system work. And I'll dive into that real quick. I mean, most people ask me what the secret sauce is. And I like to say that MEGASLAB is greater than the sum of its parts. There's not one thing that does it. It's a multitude of things that we're doing to make concrete stronger, more durable, more dense, and all those things. So, for example, we've done a DIN 1048 European standard test. It's basically a water permeability test where we're trying to force water into the capillary structure, right? And we've done that test with zero penetration. And so that's a change. So we effectively, it's waterproof, right? It's impermeable. We've also submerged MEGASLAB in muriatic acid. You may say, well, why'd you do that, and how does that apply to the real world? Well, we did that because muriatic acid attacks calcium hydroxide, CH. It's actually looking for CH and actually destroys it. So what we're doing is we're trying to chemically change CH, calcium hydroxide, into more calcium silicate hydrate, CSH. And we've done that on a very big scale, much bigger than what's been done in the past. And when we do that, we have a product that can resist muriatic acid. Well, then you say, okay, well, why is that? What does that matter? It matters when you're applying salt to, or a de-icing salt or an ice melt to our concrete. And that's been done in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Again, I've got a video coming out here soon on LinkedIn of a project that we did in Albuquerque that's 2 years old. It's been in an extreme abusive environment, and it's had de-icing salt supplied for 2 winters now, a lot of it, because it gets very cold in Albuquerque. People don't realize that. And there's been no delamination. There's been no pitting of the surface. There's no indication that it's received still track abuse for 2 years, and it's been had de-icing salts applied to it. So those are the types of things that we do. On top of that, we've seen a dramatic increase in compressive and flexural. We've seen flexural strengths north of 1,000 psi, C78. Okay. Wow. And when you can do that routinely, because doing it in the lab is one thing, Seth, but doing it routinely is another. And we're starting to see a routine here. We're starting to see that the process of creating our mix designs and doing our process in the field are yielding some pretty incredible results, right? So when we start to change the mechanical properties of concrete, actually be able to do all these things, then MEGASLAB is a slab-on-grade component. That's where it started. But we can do a lot of other things with the material and the process, and you'll be seeing more of that in the future.
I gotcha. Well, we can maybe bring you back on when that happens, and we can talk about that. So you're using this on exterior applications as well, because there's folks I've talked to in this space that they are more comfortable within the confines and interior space with their design versus the outside, which is like you're explaining, and you're going to share with us on LinkedIn this video of the Albuquerque facility of it getting beat on outside, getting the ice, getting the elements on it. So that'll be interesting to see, and it's been around for a couple years, like you said. So as far as the MEGASLAB product itself, I guess as a concrete contractor, I guess one of the questions that pops in my head, what equipment do you need to put the MEGASLAB product down, or is it different from each project to project? Meaning, am I able to pump MEGASLAB mix, or do I need to convey it? And other means, do I need to dump it out of the back of a truck? And what kind of slump is coming out of it? Do I need laser screed? All that kind of stuff. Could you share that with us?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that it's well-behaved concrete, and we can modify the rheology and the slump based on what the need is. And we have pumped it. We pumped it on a second floor. We've pumped it on a third floor without any issue. So it's pretty resilient in that regard. I mean, you can tailgate it. We've put it in a telebelt and conveyed it that way. So yeah, I think as far as that goes, it fits in any application that ordinary concrete fits in. Yeah. It is fiber reinforced. We have our own fibers that we've again studied extensively on blends and techniques to make those perform the best. So if you've installed fiber reinforced concrete in the past, then you can install MEGASLAB. And I would say that it retains moisture. It does a really good job at that for a number of reasons. And if you did need to bless the surface, we have our own finishing aid for that. And then all slabs need to be cured, right? Curing
Yep.
is critical for any good performance of concrete. We all know that, and we've got a curing agent, that's installed. And we came up. Keep in mind that I was a contractor first, right? And if the guys in the field don't want to install it, then we've got a problem. It doesn't matter how good the technology or process is if the guys in the field hate doing it, right?
Right.
And so I'd really tried to exhaust, all the resources to make things easier and quicker, to put down. And even our curing equipment that we use in-house whenever we do MEGASLAB in-house, which is rare and it's only for certain clients, but it speeds things up. It makes things easier. So one guy can cure 25,000 square feet of MEGASLAB in an hour and a half, without any issue. So it's not the days of the red can being pumped up and, you've got the wand being sprayed on the surface. We don't do that. We actually have a turf sprayer, if you will, where we load this thing up and we just walk it back and forth and flood the surface, and it really helps cure MEGASLAB. So yeah, that's a great question. It works in a lot of different applications, and there's not many additional steps to follow. There is a little bit of a learning curve, but that's where we come in. We actually have the resources and the knowledge to train people up, and that's kind of what we're here to do as a technology company. We're here to empower contractors to create something revolutionary.
Gotcha. And I think we kind of skipped over one of the, I guess, the major reasons that you have MEGASLAB, or you is to extend the joint spacing, right? So it eliminates the number of joints that you would normally have in a standard, say, wire mesh reinforced slab on grade. Can you talk a little bit about that and the benefits of eliminating the number of joints?
Yeah, absolutely. If there's any industry that can appreciate jointless exterior pavement, it's the heavy equipment CAT industry, right? These guys bring in equipment that will destroy ordinary concrete and all their joints very, very quickly. So that was an industry that I actually ran to because I wanted to solve a problem. Again, we're a solution-based company. This MEGASLAB's not a commodity. We're not looking to be a commodity in this space. We're looking to provide a solution. So yeah, we in Albuquerque, New Mexico, again, I go back to that because that's really the proving ground for our technology and our process. We were placing MEGASLAB panels in excess of 150 feet without any control joints in them, in an arid environment like Albuquerque, where we were 5% relative humidity and 20 to 30 mile an hour winds with no sign of plastic shrinkage or crazing. And that's pretty phenomenal in and of itself.
Yeah.
But then to take it a step further and remove out of 300,000 square feet of exterior MEGASLAB on that job, we removed about 35,000 linear feet of planned cracks, aka joints, right? ACI would have told us that we need a joint every about 15 feet in the center, and we've got panels that are in excess of 150 feet. So we do have joints in that pavement, but they're far and few between, and they're armored. We have our own joint that armors that edge, and usually it's just because we need to stop the pour for the day, or we need to make a turn around the building, right? If we could pour continuously, we could make even bigger panels, but we all know in concrete you can't just pour 1 million square feet without stopping. I guess it's happened close to that in the past, but
Right.
Not with us right now. So yeah, and so jointless is one thing. But really it's an oh by the way for me. There's a lot of things that we've uncovered, and I'll get to CO2 in a minute. I'm sure you were going to ask about that.
Yep.
But yeah, I think the joints are just, oh yeah, and by the way, we can go as wide as you need us to with this product, and we've done it. That's not the only job that we've got over 100-foot joint spacing. I was in Dallas, Texas yesterday, where we did interior warehouse slab, about 160,000 feet, and we went every other column line, which is around 100 to 105 feet in joint spacing. And the joints that we installed, the armor joints, the mega joints, were only open about 1/16 of an inch.
Oh, wow.
So we're seeing a dramatic reduction in shrinkage than what you would see with ordinary concrete. So yeah, I think jointless is cool. It's certainly what we wanted to achieve, but we've achieved so many other things with the material, that jointless is just another check, another box to check. So
Yeah. No, it's just bringing that up because of I actually spent some time working in a warehouse, and I know the maintaining the joints, on top of, once that warehouse is complete and the concrete guy's done, then there's the sealant guy that's got to go in there and put the sealant in there. But then afterwards, during the life of the building itself, the owner needs to maintain those joints. So the less joints that owner has to maintain, which most of them don't maintain them anyways, but the less they have to maintain, that's a smaller expense for them in the life of the building. And I assume, I was thinking about this the other day, because I have this jointless slab thing on my brain, but that I assume there's less wear and tear on equipment that's using that slab, right? I'm thinking like when I was working at the warehouse, forklifts, cherry pickers, those sort of things that run across those floors, 12, 14 hours a day continuously. And I just remember getting beat on every time we go over a joint, and that force is going into the machine, and that machine is going to need more maintenance because of that wear and tear on that. I assume there's somebody's done some kind of cost study down the road that this jointless slabs help out with that as well.
absolutely, they do. That's a great point. On top of that, it's the speed at which you can travel over the slab.
Yeah.
You had AGVs, or you had robots, or you had some type of automation, right? I mean, forklifts are, used majority, but there's a lot of automation too that can't even travel over an ordinary slab that's saw cut every 12 to 15 feet that has curl. Over time, the slab is going to curl, right?
Yeah.
It's shrink, it's going to curl, and those joints are going to be an issue for anything that runs over the floor. So yeah, I mean, there's lost production, during the operations of the building, and then there's maintenance of the equipment in the slab later. So yeah, those two can be a dramatic cost over the life cycle of that building. And if those things are taken in consideration, then our product looks pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah. All right, and you mentioned it, so let's go ahead and talk about it. Was the CO2, and just I was looking at your website earlier today, and there's a mentioning of the reduction of cement, which the last episode that we did was with Lehigh Hansen, and we were talking about Portland limestone cement, but we also discussed how to be a bit more efficient with our designs. And it's been, I'm sure everyone's experienced, always trying to determine what the right design is, depending on what mix it is on every single job. Seems like we do a lot of over designing, and I was actually had a little bit of back and forth yesterday on LinkedIn with someone about testing cylinders and getting what you want out of a testing cylinder. And my experience is a ready mix supplier can make a testing cylinder do whatever you want it to. You just cram a bunch of cement in there, you get whatever break you want. But that's going on another tangent. But could you talk about MEGASLAB and what it's doing as far as on the sustainability side of things?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've had multiple projects that we've done recently where owners asked us to provide calculation on how we came up with a CO2 reduction. And it's pretty simple math. We have an optimized mix design that's stronger, and then we use a little bit less concrete. and sometimes we eliminate rebar, mostly for slabs on ground.
Right.
So when we do all those things, we go through and just calculate them. And we had the project in Dallas that I was on yesterday. We had a 38% reduction in CO2 on that project. And I would say that CO2 reduction is a talking point right now. I've always said that you need to be good steward. You need to be a good steward of the material, right? And if we can make it stronger, if we can make it more durable, and we just don't happen to need as much of it, then to me, that's the best way to come about a CO2 reduction. It's not to, infuse certain things into the concrete that could ultimately be damaging to its long-term performance, right? I want to create something that is more durable, that's stronger, and that can last exponentially longer, right? I've said this many a times that durability is sustainability. And even though we had that 38% reduction on that particular project, that was just the front end math. That was the upfront hand calculation on what CO2 do we reduce? How much do we reduce on the front end? That doesn't take into account what it could be on the back end in 5, 10, 15 years from now, right? And I think that goes back to why we're a solution-based company, because we're actually looking at ground preparation extensively. We're actually collaborating with soil cement companies right now. We're actually trying to make a base that's stronger for our slab to sit on top of, because we know that pavements are only as good as the ground under them, right?
Yeah. And
so we're starting to approach that this year. So that's a new product and things that we're starting to create. It's coming out this year. So there's just a lot of different things that we take an approach on, and it's not just a secret sauce. I mean, I like to say that we are a technology company. We touch and are involved in a lot of different aspects, and we're going to hold true to that.
Yeah. So when you look at a project as a potential MEGASLAB project, because I'm maybe some of these projects are starting to get you specified in there and naming your product for that application. But I assume a lot of what you're doing is looking at projects and finding the things that you can do to make MEGASLAB a piece of that project. And like you mentioned, you're probably looking at a slew of things, not just what type of project it is. It's not just a warehouse or cold storage or exterior outdoor storage or something that needs that product. You're probably trying to figure out if it's a good fit for MEGASLAB. You're probably looking at who the engineer is and if they have an open mind, I assume. So is that, I guess, is that what you're doing right now? Your effort right now is just getting your hands on projects ahead of time and trying to convince people to, look at your product and show them the benefits, especially right now with it, concrete's kind of getting bashed over the head as the kind of the bad guy in the new carbon credit construction world, I've been calling it. And it, like you mentioned before, it's just because we use so much of it, right? So that's why it has such a big footprint. But I guess is that your effort right now, is just getting your hands on a project early on and then showing the folks what the benefit is of your product?
Yeah, absolutely. And you hit on it earlier too with testing and the I guess the overuse of cement sometimes, right? And that can be a culprit too in our industry. But that and that's for good reason, right? The additional cement that a lot of ready-mix producers have to use because they're not in control of those trucks after they leave the plant a lot of times. Mm-hmm. So, I think what we try to do is we try to remove those stumbling blocks. We try to be involved with projects and we're looking for solutions or problems to solve, really. We're a solution-based company. So the cat dealers have really taken a liking to us because they can destroy concrete faster than just about anyone. And we've got a product down that they love. Is it perfect? No concrete's perfect. But is it more durable? And do they see, a benefit to it? Absolutely they do. And that's why we have so many projects right now in Texas and Oklahoma, multiple projects from cat dealers. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we're looking for. We're looking to solve a problem. And if the owner is saying that, I put down an 8-inch concrete pavement with rebar because that's what my consultant told me to do, and we put it down in Dallas, Texas, and it's 6 years old and it's already failing, then throwing more concrete at the problem and making it thicker didn't solve the problem.
Right.
What needs to solve the problem is, the subgrade, number one, but number two is helping concrete behave better, right? There's a reason why it misbehaves, and we feel like we've addressed that. So if we start with the ground, we fix that, then we go up to the MEGASLAB, and we can fix that as well. And we feel like we've got a longer performing, longer lasting product that they're going to get their money's worth out of, and not have to call us back in 5 years and go, man, this stuff's failing just like the last stuff. That's not going to be the case. We've got a solution.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good place to stop today, Jason. Like I said, we should get you back on again when you're ready to share the other things you got going on. If folks want to reach out to you and talk to you about MEGASLAB and see if their project is a fit for it, how should they get a hold of you?
Yeah, I appreciate that. So just email me direct. It's pretty simple. Jason@megaslab.com.
That's pretty easy to find. And you're a little active on LinkedIn too. I've seen you on LinkedIn. And you got a lot of videos on YouTube as well showing your product. So should check it out. MEGASLAB, just Google it. It comes up. Jason, I appreciate you coming on the show. Appreciate your time, and look forward to doing it again.
Thank you, Seth. I really appreciate you, brother. Take care.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Concrete Logic Podcast. If you did enjoy, please hit subscribe on your favorite podcast listening app and share with others that you would think would find value in the podcast. I look forward to having more discussions. Please tune in, and we'll see you on the next episode of Concrete Logic Podcast.